the spirit of welcoming and gathering, that sense of collecting, recollecting, and gathering the energy and welcoming. Receiving and giving attention. Receiving experience, giving attention. And settling. And ground. The body. In this time. This space. This knowing. The experience. Now, here. This first few minutes arriving. The body. The knowing. The breath. Received and released in this rhythm. Just allowing this moment. The gathering of the energy, the gathering of people, in this time and space. This here, this now. Receiving experience. The weight of the body. the pressure, the touch, the sensations, the energy of this space. Release of the past and not picking up of the future. In this moment, sensitive and alive, well-wishing, brave, open, receiving, fearless in giving attention, gift of life to life, giving, releasing, life received, life given, sensitive and still. Welcomed, experienced, before thought, not thinking, what's not thinking, not stopping thought, but knowing what's not thinking. Not getting anything, not getting rid of anything, not going anywhere, not becoming anything. Not fixed, not movable, unsupported. This is the knowing. Released. My breath received. In the knowing attention, given, released. Giving time, giving space. This now, this here, this place, this time. This permission, this knowing. Allowing the knowing. patient in this moment, bearing this experience. A breath. It seems that you did hear the bell, so something's working. It's always a interest working with tools, and this whole setup, this whole business is working with tools. The tool makers are the humans, the tool users are humans, and the tool of thinking is the tool that is most used and moves most energy. It affects the rest. The tool of speech, the tool of acting, and then how we act and how we speak, and amplified through more tools. And this little setup of reaching across time and space, everybody in their own time and space quite clearly, and yet somehow sharing time and space across time and space. And then the recordings that are put up in another time and space may be used. All very, very strange. But for the moment, you heard the bell anyway. Whether we can hear the bell, this is being alive. And this experience is not guaranteed. This experience is not guaranteed. It's very, very precious. And it's just a breath away. And just knowing knowing that and really, how gives the urgency and also the peacefulness. How, a group of bhikkhus were asked by the Lord Buddha about how often they reflected on mortality. And of course there were some that said, well, often enough, once a month or something. Others said, once a fortnight. Others said, once a day. And of course it got down to once an hour. And of course it reached once a breath, or the time it takes to swallow, having chewed. And of course the Buddha said, those that recollect their mortality once a breath, or the time it takes to swallow chewed food, they are not heedless. Because it's that close. It's that close. We've all heard and maybe even seen a death, heard of or read about a death that is just a moment. And it's to recognize that every being that we ever see, all of them will die. All we share this, and we all really do not know what's going to happen. Because that sensitivity that we take, I don't know whether we take it for granted, but we don't really know it often as we get caught in thinking that something needs to be got rid of, something needs to be got, you need to go somewhere, you need to become something. And then thinking, well, I shouldn't do that, which makes it more complicated. Just that gift of life, and in these first sort of 15 minutes or so of these sessions, I just try to suggest that it's okay and give encouragement to gather the energy, to settle the energy, to come to this now and here with gentleness, in a sense of welcoming and reconnecting with the basis of this sensitivity. And why is this capacity to receive experience and respond? Why is there this life and this agency that we experience? The sense of separation, the sense of I can get myself comfortable if I just arrange things right. Because we wish ourselves well. And Ajahn Buddhadasa said, and it seems more obvious to me that what if humans work well, they are happiness creators. Actually, That's what we're incredibly good at making suffering. But if we work well, we're actually happiness creators. We wish ourselves well. And on the whole, when we're with people, we wish the people around us to be happy. Because we actually recognize that that makes our life easier. And even on the most basic level, I think life just seeks out the optimal. It just has limited capacity to do it. Humans have the greatest capacity to do it. They have the greatest capacity to be free from compulsion, to be free from blind acting, and be free from ignorance. And part of that is admitting that we don't know what we don't know. Rather than trying to think we know when we don't know. We don't know, we just don't know. We don't really know what time and space are. We don't really know what the whole thing is. We don't know when we're going to die. You know the story of the weaver's daughter, which is not actually canonical, it's actually commentarial. It's the classic story. As you have probably heard, the Lord Buddha in the morning used to walk John Crom used to walk up and down, walking meditation. This is what we are told. And he would review beings that could benefit that day. And he recognized there was somebody who could benefit. So as an act of will, he just went there and walked arms round to the village, received his food. And in the old days, one of the things that they also sometimes do in parts of the north of Thailand, they have a little place where villagers can gather. And in this case, the Lord Buddha went there with his bowl, and he ate his meal quietly and sat quietly and didn't say anything. And there was a weaver in the town, the village, small town, small village, maybe bigger, maybe smaller. And he had a daughter, and the weaver was doing a rush job. He was very busy, he had an order, and he was working away. And his daughter was helping him. And he said to his daughter, go across to the other side of the village and collect some more bobbins of thread so that I can set it up so that the thread can be woven in my loom. Which, loom is a huge thing, and it's got a shuttle that goes across as you push the thread through. And so the weaver's daughter, being dutiful, she went across to the other side of town and collected the shuttle. But as she was coming back, she heard that the Lord Buddha was in town. So she thought, well, I'll just pass and quickly have a look and see what's happening. Because, he came through some time ago and I was really impressed. So she came in the back of the group of people. She was walking at the back. And And the Buddha started to speak. He said, where have you come from? She heard, and all the people sitting in front wondered, why has he said that? And the weaver's daughter said, I don't know. And the Lord Buddha said, where are you going? And the weaver's daughter said, I don't know. And by this time, the people who were sitting in front and close to the Lord Buddha, the gathered elders, were getting a little bit frustrated. And the Lord Buddha said again, you don't know? And the weaver's daughter said, I know. And by this time, the people were really upset. The Buddha had been sitting there, he'd received his arm food, he'd eaten his meal, he'd just been sitting quietly, and now he was calling to the weaver's daughter at the back there, she'd obviously just come, she was carrying a big bobbin. She knew where she'd come from. She'd come from the spinners, just up the road. She was carrying a big bobbin. She knew where she was going to, and she said she didn't know. She was going to her father's. And then the Buddha asked her again, you don't know? You don't know? And she said, yes, I know. What's she up to? And then the Buddha asked again. He said, you know? And the weaver's daughter said, I don't know. So, what to do? And the Buddha said, he nodded. And the weaver's daughter walked on. So, she walked on and she went back into her father's workshop. And the father was working away, stuck into it, and he pushed the shuttle across really hard. Didn't see that his daughter was just standing by the shuttle. It hit her in the head and it killed her. And the Lord Buddha said, yeah, the weaver's daughter was wise. When I came here last to this village, to this town, do you remember what I was talking about? The people there said, oh, I can't remember. It was an impressive talk, but I can't really remember. And the Lord Buddha said, well, I talked about death. I talked about death and life. And when I talked about it, I said, do you know where you came from before you were born? Do you know where you came from before you were born? Nobody knows. You don't really know. Where were you before you were born? What was in the Zen period, Zen people nowadays say, what was your original face before you were born? Don't know. So the weaver's daughter got that right. She didn't know where she came from. Do you know where you're going to after you die? Do you know? No idea, eh? She didn't know where she was going to, the weaver's daughter. So when I asked the third time, you don't know? And she answered, I know. Do you know you're going to die? And that's an important question. Do you actually know you're going to die? Do you know this body is going to actually die? You really don't have control over it. And she said, I know. The weaver's daughter said, I know. And so then then I asked again, do you know? And the weaver's daughter said, I don't know. Although she knows that she will die, she doesn't know when. So she got all 4 answers completely right. She understood the nature of this strange thing called being alive. We don't know where we've come from, we don't know where we're going, we know that we're going to die, but we don't know when. And this is helpful to really remember and recollect, to reconnect to that. Gather the energy around the freedom that we can experience. And the gate to that freedom, which is now, here, this place, this time. This is the only time, only place where the sense of welcoming, the sense of gathering the energy, so the energy is not pushed out into hopes and expectations, fears. It's not dragged into regrets, remorse, burdened by past habits. But free to give time, to give space, to give attention. Because we wish less suffering for ourselves and others. We have guidelines for behavior. The guidelines are clear because they're clear about boundaries. Yeah, clear about boundaries. Clear about boundaries is like, this is where actions of speech are going to generate pain. Now and in the future, generate regret. Keeping us safe. Yeah, using that in that way, and then using it also to reflect on, well, what is happening? Now, I feel that sense restraint, is a basis for wholesome actions. Sense restraint is not just shutting down, but it's not pushing out, pushing the energy out into things without care. It's the sense of not pushing out to indulge and not pushing out to reject. But if one's giving energy out, it coming from a sense of what's the best thing to do here. And again, a lot of the time we don't know. And knowing that we don't know allows us to protect from heedlessness. You know? Heedlessness is when we just follow on. We know what we do when we do. When we're heedless, we make mistakes. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know why we're doing it. And we don't even know that we don't know. But when we can accept the limitation, and this is the moment, this is the time, this is the place, what now, here. It's not that that there's no goals, or no ideals, but knowing that where we are is where we are, and then aspirations are fine. Aspirations are helpful. Aspirations come from a sense of sufficiency, a sense of generosity. And a gift in generosity is a sense of you give, and then you notice, and then you give again. You notice there's less or more pain for oneself and others. Knowing time and place. Knowing time and place is the way to go beyond time and space. Because death is always the death of the partial, the death of separation. If there's that's why the sense of seeking deathlessness through merging with something, and seeking some sort of immortality by pushing into something that one feels won't die. That's not going to work either, really. It's not in earth, water, fire, or air. It's not in space, consciousness, neither perception or non-perception. No thingness. It's not in this world, the next world, or both. It's not going forward, not going backwards. It's not trying to fix. It's not increasing or decreasing. So the sense of what doesn't get caught in playing with tools. Just really allowing that to be something that is okay. Giving space to that. We're all brothers and sisters in this. There is no being that doesn't, in some way, wonder about what happens after death, even if it's the sense of I need to control my death. We all experience disappointment, pain, because that's the nature of separation. We're all brothers and sisters in this. And notice the whole thing is set up so that we really wish ourselves well and really start acting on that assumption. We seek the best for ourselves, a happiness independent of conditions. I get caught in a partial happiness, when a happiness independent of conditions, a peace independent of conditions, is realizable, is something that is unsupported. It's not relying on anything. A happiness independent of conditions doesn't rely on anything. It's open, here and now. Because this is the only place that we can be. This has to be. This is where the gateway has to be. Looking into some sort of future is not going to. But practicing now is where we can, where this possibility has. And if in our lives there is less immediate pain for ourselves and others, then that's the best we can do. Not to feel upset by thinking, well, I should be doing more. Well, if you do think that, then accept that too. Or if you think, well, I can't do it, accept that too, and work now. Work now. This is where there's the freedom. So I hope that that's, well, I don't even know whether that's of any use. It's a rambling today. It's a reflection today, now and here. It might get caught on YouTubes and maybe in other times and spaces might be listened to or enjoyed or appreciated or criticized. It's going to be what it is. And gratitude for you listening, and let's see if we have questions that I might be able to reflect on if you write them down for now. Thank you. Chat. If anybody wants to put a chat in, I might see it. I might not. I've got one thank you. 2 thank yous. If you have anything else. How do we get perception that we got lost in here and now? How do we get perception that we got lost from the here and now? I'm not sure that I understand, Susanna. I think that sometimes we think we are, but we're not. I think thought is about, it starts from the sense of separation. And it's not wrong. Thought is not wrong. It is what it is. It's the tool that humans use. It's the first tool that humans use. They think. That's what we are. We're thinking creatures. Somebody, and that we don't know how to use thought. We think maybe we do, but we don't. We don't know. When we believe thought, in that we believe that thought is all that there is. But we're not actually always thinking. And that the sense of spaciousness that comes with coming back to that sense of, oh, is enough. There's all sorts of recommendations about how long we should meditate for and how much we should meditate, and 15, 20 minutes is what's usually thing. But the time to meditate, or the moment to meditate, is this finger snap, this now, this sense of, okay, this is the breath now. That is where we can practice in this moment, and allowing the sense to smile at that, the sense of release that comes from that, or the sense of wonder that comes from that, or the sense of being with that, without trying to run away or get rid of it or become something else. But, a child is just trying to figure things out. And, how long it takes to grow up, and how damaged that whole thing can happen as it comes through. It's going to get messed up in some way or another. And then maybe some people say, well, it takes 28 years to really grow up before the brain gets fixed. And then there's all sorts of things that can happen during that time. And then we just keep going. And it's not wrong, because that's the way that this whole business has worked out over however long time and space is, or whether there is time and space, but this is the way it is now. How does it feel to be really aware? Does it feel? Andrea, you have to know for yourself. Yeah. The sense of sadness that can come with the recognition of death is something to be faced, and to in some ways this is something that it's okay, and it's not wrong. It's not wrong to feel that sense of sadness. Wanting to get rid of that sense of sadness, it makes it worse. But also, it's part of the whole thing. There's a sense of sadness because you wish yourself well. You wish yourself a sense of, regardless of the fact that life is very, very fleeting, and we don't know when it's going to end. It's what we have now, and to make best use of that is what we can do. And it's not wrong to feel sad about it. It's okay. Yeah, it's going to be the finishedness is going to be when this sense of separation is no longer believed. Unfinished queries, unfinished business. Forgive as much as you can, as often as you can. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness is a way of saying, I'm not going to carry anything more. I'm not going to carry it anymore. There is unfinished business, but that's part of what life is about. Even the Lord Buddha could not convince his cousin to not try to murder him. He couldn't convince the son of his first real disciple not to murder his father. Not the Buddha's father, the son's father. should we accept that sometimes we are mindless? I've tried to be mindful all the time. I find I'm over-monitoring my mindfulness at times. Yeah, it creates a mental strain. What is the balance? Smiling is a balance, a sense of forgiveness, a sense of recognition of being able to say, well, I've made a mistake, and that's the way that it is. A sense of interest in the moment rather than forcing myself to be mindful. That's too much strain. Trying to be mindful in every moment is a sense of, it can be quite deadening actually. It's more like, oh, I can receive whatever's happening and I can give attention to this. This is what it is. This is how it is. And rather than reacting, even, say, well, I shouldn't react, I should respond. That's, again, a judgment happening. Oh, this is the response. Because there's going to be, in the act of receiving something, there is already a response. Because what we tend to receive is based on past habits. We see what we want to see, we hear what we want to hear. Because that's based on past habits, so you know yourselves when you've been involved in some particular project over something. You then start looking around and you start noticing the whole world tends to be like that, to be made up of a project. There was one of the monks had to redo all the gutters in one of the houses, and he said wherever he went, he always was looking at was the gutters. So whereas, if you're involved with something, that's what you tend to see. That's what you tend to get to do. So don't over monitor. It's okay. This is what's happening.